Okay, so we're going to get back to doing the hinges, and this is the paper that I'm going to be using, and I drew a line on the back, and I'm going to add my Tyvek back here, and then we are going to do some cutting, and I will show you what I'm going to do. What I have seen with this before is this was an idea I had thought of, and then lo and behold, I'm watching a video from Score Up Queen, and this is exactly what she did. So I'm not trying to take someone's idea. It is something I thought about doing, but she did it before I did. So if you'd like to see that, it's her book with the most recent binding or book that she's just done. So don't want to take someone's idea or anything, but this was something I wanted to try out as well. So we'll see how well this works, and if this works out for you. My spine is 2 3/4, so I just made this an inch bigger on both sides. And with this piece of Tyvek, I made this also 2 3/4. And I just put my score tape on the back, and I'm gonna put that down onto my paper. The purpose for this, in my mind, I'm not saying that it's absolutely mandatory necessary, but my idea behind it was I thought that it would end up being a bit more sturdy, and because I wanted to put the hinges on and wanted to hide them a little bit so that I could put this paper on top. So what I'm going to do is I also drew my lines on here already, and I'm just going to mark off for the height of my hinges, and to center those in my book. I made my hinges about 1/4 of an inch less than my page. I wanted to give myself a little bit of extra room because I was cutting into this Tyvek. We'll see how it works out, and if this is not a success, then we'll change that out the next time I do it, or try something different. It's always good to be able to try some different tricks. So that's what we're gonna do. Let me get rid of this. All right, and my ruler. So I measured incorrectly here to begin with, so I might look like I'm not following lines. So what I planned on doing was doing 3/8 of an inch here, 1/2 an inch, 1/2 an inch, 1/2 an inch. Yes, and then 1/2 inch. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hinges. So everything is going to be moving this way a little bit more, and this is going to be my 3/8. So both on the outside for the front cover and the back cover is going to be 3/8 of an inch to the inside. And let's see how this goes. See if that worked, and score. We've got that. So I'm going to do my other. And maybe this is just not for you. You don't want to do the cutting, and there is all different types of options for doing hinges, stack the deck. There is, you know, the other types of hinges you can put together, and they will slip them on because they're on the top. But what I wanted to do this time is to try to get my paper so that I can have my paper on top of the hinges. Oh, I almost cut right to the end there. And this is the first time I've done this, so we'll see if it works. If you don't like it, well, we'll have to try a different binding another time. I think I'm going to go over just a little bit on this one. I think I just heard some thunder. I don't know if your day is full of sunshine where you're at, or if it's thundering, raining where you're at. Well, this doesn't look as even as I would have liked it to look, but I think we're just going to go with it. And not going to worry about it that much because I don't want to. Well, that one's a little bit off. I guess we'll see what it looks like once we get the pages in here, or the binding pieces in here, and see if that works. So with my hinges, what I did is that I wanted to add a little bit of a longer hinge to it so that it could move more easily in the book. So what we're going to be doing is putting these hinges, where are you? So what we're going to be doing is putting these hinges just in. There we go. I'm going to cut the edges of these off yet too, so that they can slide in a little bit easier. But they're going to go right into here and onto the other side. And so much for measuring. I thought I had done a really good job of measuring here, but we will try that out. Boy, oh boy, is there a storm coming up. It's huge. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's exactly what we want. So what I'm going to do is, just to get ready, is I'm going to put my score tape on the hinges so that I can get them ready for putting the pages onto the book. And so we're going to do that, and then I will put all the pages into the book. So I am going to have you join me back as soon as I get done doing this score tape. And again, the score tape is on here for the hinges for the pages. But I'm going to do this, and then I will be back with you. All right, so here I've got some of the hinges on here. I don't have everything done yet, so because I wanted to show you how I was putting these all in. I have the hinges in here, and I am going to take my art glitter glue and put it along here, and then slide it back in. And you want to make sure that when you're sliding this in too, is that you have the seam or the fold. You don't want that underneath the line, because you want that to be able to easily fold back and forth. So make sure that that's on the top part of the paper when you put that in under the hinge. All right, And we've got another one here. The hinges are a little bit off. I did cut a little bit funky, like I said, but when I put them in here, they seem to look okay. If they don't, then I am going to redo them, but if they look pretty similar in width, I'm gonna just leave them as is. So, got that. And we'll pull this one out. So I'm sorry if the lighting in my room is a bit off. We've just got a big storm that rolled in, and I had lots of good light earlier, and I don't have that same amount of light right now. Got as many lights on as I can, so I apologize if there's something you can't see. But hopefully that's not the case. So we're going to pull this one out. Oops. And also, I guess that's a good thing too. I wanted to tell you I mitered the edges of these hinges as well. So thought they would slip in a little bit easier, and I put the score tape at the top. And then I also went ahead and I cut out strips of paper that I can put in between the hinges, so that it's all pretty consistently paper on here and not any of the black, just the black outline. So let's put that down. See our hinges here. One of my plans is that where I have the fatter hinges, or the more room in between, I planned on possibly doing a little bit sturdier. That's not too bad. It's a little bit off, and I think next time I will do a better job of that. So I think we'll be okay. I'll just have to make sure that those pages in here I can be a little bit thicker, but maybe here and off here I need to be a little bit thinner. But one of the things that I will do off camera, but I'm going to do that, or I can do that now, I'm going to put these pieces of paper into here, or I had thought about even using the other side of that paper, but I thought it looked a little bit better with it being consistently the same color. And then what we're going to do with this, once they're all on, is I'm going to take the back and put score tape on the back of this and put that into the book, and then we're going to put our pages into the book. So I'm going to get these other tabs on. I don't want to have you have to watch me do all of that. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to take my ink and cover up the sides of all of these, so I've got to do that on all of them. I'm using black, but it's not my favorite to use, but I figured because of this paper, I'm more concerned with not so much getting that vintage or that distressed look on it as I am just to cover up the edges of the white on the paper. That's really more what I'm looking to do with this. So I am going to go ahead and edge all of these, and then I'm going to glue them on, and when I come back I'm going to put the hinges into the book, and I will share that with you as we can do that together. All right, thanks so much, and I'll see you in a little bit. Hi there. So I've gotten my hinges all set, and I added a 3/8 inch piece of the paper here. So now what I'd like to do is to get my hinges into my mini album, and I added sequin tape on here, and next what I'm going to do is add some of my art glitter glue around all the edges, and just to be a little bit of a extra hold for that. So got that. And what I did on here is I did draw in matching up lines so that I knew right where to go and make it a lot easier for lining this up. There we go. Ugh, I think I pulled this out. Sorry. Right. So we've got our hinges in our binder or mini album. I don't know why I keep calling it a binder. And this is our top right here, and this is our bottom, and it looks like we're lined up very well. So just going to make sure I take off any of my pencil marks. And the next thing that I want to do with this is I want to work on getting our mini album set and go ahead and bend some of that spine and get that put in the crease there so we can get working on that paper so we don't split it. And this edge is actually going to be covered over by the other inside paper. Okay. Oh my goodness. Yes, I ripped that. Can't believe I just did that. I'm going to take a little bit of my art glitter glue and a little bit of my ink, and hopefully that will do the trick. Can't believe I did that. We'll have to see how that may not make a difference. So we've got our hinges all in and got this book coming up. Now let's get our other sheets of paper that we're going to be putting in to the inside. And where's my... You know, I also realized that I should have gone around the top of the hinge piece. See, there's all kinds of things that can get forgotten easily when you have so many steps involved with getting your pages in and your papers on. And So, but again, nothing to worry about because these are homemade items and they're made with love, and there's always going to be a few little things here or there, and I am pretty perfectionist minded, and if I can go ahead and not worry about these items, then that's just the way it's going to have to be. So we are going to take these papers, and I'm going to use my art glitter glue, and we will put them down to the inside. And then once we get the inside of this done, we're going to work on the outside of it as well. And I have the outside started, and I'll share with you what I have for my book. I think I'm gonna do the darker part to the outside. I think I'm gonna like that better. So I'm gonna use my art glitter glue. I used to use solely sequin tape and Fabri-Tac, and I still love Fabri-Tac. It's a wonderful glue for putting papers down. It's just quite a bit more expensive, so thought I would start using more of my art glitter glue because I have been told by many people that it lasts very long and it does a great job. So that's what I am doing. I know we're a little bit off right here, but I don't think we're going to end up seeing that once we have our tags and everything into this book. And if we do, then it's a lesson learned for me, something that I'll have to watch out for next time. So again, I think I'm going to do a little bit of the darker side out here. Yep, we did our edges. I use this paper on the inside because I thought that, especially the back of it, I wasn't really sure where I would use that map. Then again, I guess I could do it across a 2-page spread. All right, matching that all up with a small border on there, and looks like it's the same height as the other side. Okay, well, we've got our inside papers done, and we've got our hinges in. I went ahead and I put some ribbon on the outside of my book. This is just some black seam binding, and I put some fray check on the ends of my seam binding. I think I'm going to take and put some little doodads on the end of this, but I didn't want it to be fraying while I was putting everything together. So you can see that the outside of our book is right here. And actually, I have to say, I just love how this black cardstock looks on the outside of this book. It looks so flat and neat, and I'm a believer in this. This really is very nice. So what I'm going to do is we're going to work on the outside covers, and the covers themselves I had worked on the papers ahead of time because I didn't want to take too long for you watching what I did. So what I ended up doing though is I ended up taking the signature page and cutting out some of the items from the other part of the signature page and popping them up on black chipboard, and then just fussy cut around the black chipboard and the images, so I took duplicate images. I am going to add some flowers onto the front of this, but I'm not going to do that until I'm done with the book, because I don't want to damage those flowers while I'm working on the inside of the book. So what we're going to end up doing right now is we're going to go ahead and get this down on the front of the book, and we have this piece right here that's going onto the back of the book. So, true confessions. I was going to use this whole sheet for the back of the book and use this down here. Well, yes, I ended up cutting it too short. So, no worries, you can just take care of that. I put a border along here, and that's along the seaming line, and I just put the fish together on this, and as I'm looking at it, I had it upside down. Oh my goodness, I'm glad I caught that before I put that on. So we're going to end up putting this on the back here, and leaving a little bit of the black border around on there as well. So we're going to get those on and put those all together, and then I'm going to show you how I put together one of the pages, and then we'll take a look at some of the other things or papers as we go. I'm going to try to get some of the pages done for you and then show you what I'm going to be doing with the design paper. So let's get these put on, and I used the score tape sheets from Country Craft Creations, and just love how they get held down. As you can see, I have score tape under here and just laid that down very flat. So I'm going to, pardon my head, first thing that I want to do is to make sure I am good top and bottom, and this side. I think I am. If I'm not, oh well. Nope, looks good. So then I'm just going to take my bone folder and rub that down and try to get in those areas there. I hadn't really decided. I was also thinking about putting some glossy accents on the front, but I'm not sure I want anything that's too shiny just on the cover. I think I like the flatter appearance of those raised up images, but we'll see once we get the flowers on there at the end. So we'll get this sheet put onto the back, and make sure that if you have anything hanging over on the ends that you push that in. Again, pardon my head, so sorry. The other thing that's a little different this time that I'm doing, normally what I do when I use the wraparound shelf paper, I usually will put some kind of binding on the back of it there, but I am going to do something different this time. I am just putting a piece on this end because I really liked this, and I cut out another one of the borders, and I was going to stick this down. Actually, I think I'm going to put this border on first, and then I will butt that up against that border. Apologize if my head was in the way. Oh, seem to be getting stuck all over the place here. And then we're going to butt this right up along there, and actually I think I might even just take a little bit to the side right there. No, I'm not going to do that. I think I'm going to take just a slight bit off of this edge because it's just a 1/16 of an inch off from where I would like it to be, so I'm going to take a little bit of that off of the bottom and just re-ink that along the edge. Ugh. Okay, there we go. It's because I have that score tape on the back of it, making it a little bit thicker to run through. Hopefully I've done okay. Looks like I might be a little bit off. So I think what I'm going to do is match that up there. Okay. There we go. We've got that evened up. Should be all evened up and we should be good. I'm going to ink along those edges to get rid of that white. There we go. All right. So you have to leave down in the comments for me if any of you have done any tutorials with this graphic 45 paper. I would love to see what you did with the paper and take a look at your mini albums or your cards. All right, so I am going to take this . Please, please, please. Oh, I thought we had gone on crooked. I didn't. Good. All right. So there we have the front cover and we have the back. And we have our sides there. So I think we're all good. So the next thing that I want to do is just show you how I've got the pages ready to go inside the book. I have 5 pages and they are going to be so they slip right onto the pages, and I made these pages 6.5 by 8.5. So just get your black cardstock, and the one that's 6.5 and 8.5, I made that 6.5 that way and 8.5 this way. What am I thinking? Wait a minute. no, I'm sorry, 9.5. I apologize. So I made the one side 9.5 and the other side is 6.5. This being 9.5, scoring it so that I can put the hinges on this. So we do a 1/2 inch hinge. And then what I'm going to do with that is I'm just going to fold over my hinges. And use my bone folder. Now, one of the things that I was finding is that my pages were just slightly longer than I wanted them to be. So I'm going to do a dry matchup to these to make sure that my pages fit. I think I am going to take just a 1/16 of an inch off that, and just a sliver, not much more than that, just so that it will lay nicely down. And the only thing with this cutter is I've had a hard time cutting small pieces with it, but one of the things that I found that I do is if I set it into the middle of the paper, then I can get a thinner cut with it. So I just have to remember to do that when I'm getting a thinner cut. So what I'm going to do now is just miter these edges. And that'll just help, I think, with because we're going to put tags in this later on. And I am going to use my art glitter glue for these pages. So what I'm going to do is get this settled down on one side. Lining it up the best I can. And then I'm going to put my glue right on here. And then I can drop this down, making sure I'm right where I need to be. And then on this side, match that up a little bit. And make sure we've got our glue on this side as well. All right. And there we go. We've got our, as Scrap Queen likes to call them, her tunnels. I was trying to think of a better name than tunnels, but I guess it works. So that's how I'm doing the pages, and I am going to individually work on each one of these pages with any of the flaps or flips, and I will come back to you once I have some of those put onto these pages, and then we'll also talk about the papers that we're going to put down on the pages as well. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Thank you.